got home and got in a nice warm shower. Spoiler alert, I lived. However, I had just posted a video about a week ago demonstrating for 2 hours in 0 degrees how you can cover yourself with your sleeping bag if you're really cold and breathe into your sleeping bag. I got a whole bunch of comments on an earlier video. I'll post the links to these, but this is important that I explain this because I think I might have given some incomplete advice, perhaps some bad advice. So I went out when I knew it was going to be cold and I camped with the minimal amount of gear that I travel with early spring and late fall. My winter sleeping bag, which is inadequate. I could go for a much thicker sleeping bag, but it's so bulky when I do that. If I travel around on my bike stealth camping, I got to have a limited amount of bulk, not weight. The bike is carrying a lot of the weight. My legs are strong. But my channel, I have a vision for it, and that is every video is timeless. It goes up and it's not topical and then life moves on. 50 years from now, these videos regarding how to camp, how to stealth camp, how to do it safely and smart, and the tips I've learned over all these years of doing it are still going to be relevant. So people can still search, they can still pull these videos up, and I want the information to be as accurate as possible because there are Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and people that they want to branch out from camping in a trailer or RV to actually getting deeply into nature. That's what I do. I go out alone, and this time in the video you're about to see, I camped with just a tarp and my fall equipment, and I knew it was going to be inadequate, but I wanted to do this video as a follow-up to the other 2 videos I mentioned. One is cold snap hacks for camping. Over 60,000 people have seen that, and what that is for is if you wake up on a camping trip freezing and suddenly there's been a cold snap and you are unprepared and you got to finish out the night at least, what are you going to do? What actions are you going to take? So I gave those 10 different steps, and then I went out recently and because the weather report said it was going to go down from 52 degrees and then have a hard rain and then drop down to a low of 20 degrees. I thought that would be a good test for all the cold snap hacks I had put into that video. So that's what this video is about. However, I got in a very dangerous situation, and I found out something about breathing into your sleeping bag that you should know about. So watch the video. I'm glad I'm safe and warm. Here's something really funny. I was laying in my sleeping bag and I took my coat. Rather than wear it, that would have been kind of uncomfortable in the sleeping bag, I put it over my face as I was in the sleeping bag so that it was a buffer to this 30-mile-an-hour wind. And what happened was the vapors I was expelling were freezing on that coat. And so here's what happened to my coat. It's still frozen. Look at that. And you cannot put a coat on like this that's wet because your body heat, it has all that frost on it because the body heat will melt the frost, and then you're out of luck, aren't you? Yes, you are, because you'll be in a wet coat. So I had effectively made my coat almost useless by doing that. And so that's why I want to make another video and explain that so that no Boy Scouts freeze to death. I got standards. Well, the wind is steady and strong. When I set out this afternoon, it was 50 degrees. And it's going down to 21 tonight. There's rain coming in. You see the remnants of snow. So I've decided that this will be my campground. I'm going to utilize the tree. I'm going to set up so the opening to my tarp is away from the wind. Prevailing wind is this way. You probably hear it. So that's what I'm going to do. on state game lands, camping legally, for free. It's called dispersed camping, because I'm dispersed out into the woods. Takes care of that, Widowmaker. Tying a taut-line hitch. Trying to make like a three-sided tent out of this tarp, and I used some debris from the ground and piled it up. Easy to do, but it's wet. But it's on the outside of my tarp. And for the time being, we're all right. Starting to get dark. Now before the storm, we'll see how I fare. I wanted to show you this. See the power lines? They go to somebody's house way up there. This road occasionally gets a car. We're on state land in Michigan, southeastern Michigan, about 30 miles from Ann Arbor. It's pretty remote. What I'm doing now, or the reason I picked this site, is it's got pine trees. They stop the wind better than deciduous trees who have lost their leaves this time of year. Also, there's tons of downed wood, and it's up off the ground, most of it, and it's small enough diameter that I can use my backpacking saw to cut it if I need to. And so I'm well supplied. You see there was a forest fire here, but it didn't get much traction. Burned a few trees, but didn't spread, so maybe it was a lightning strike that set a tree on fire, and it spread to the dry undergrowth and burned some of this wood. But we know that it happened before this was cut, or all that would have burned. So they have to keep these trees cut so they don't fall in a high wind on the power line and cut power. So that's called a power line cut. And it gives me all kinds of resources. I took some of these down pine boughs that have some pine needles still left on them, and I made like a windbreak to hold down the tent on the outside. And it's not a tent, it's a tarp. When it goes down to 21 degrees tonight and it snows, I'll say, Dougie, why didn't you bring your tent? And the reason is because of the challenge of the tarp and the challenge of the impending bad weather. If I need to, I will call my sister to come pick me up. That's the agreement we made. So she knows where I am, and she knows that if I need help, I'll be smart enough to call for it. So that way, I can just relax and have a good weekend. I got 2 steaks, I got all kinds of food, because I was thinking I might get pinned down and not be able to do anything but sit in the tarp all weekend, which is fine with me. I got tunes, I got stuff to read, I got plenty of food, and I like solitude occasionally.
It's freezing, it's pouring, and this shelter, I'm dry. Look at all the rain. See the frying pan? I'm collecting it. Anyway, this beam is really handy. I lashed up tight with taut-line hitches several places, fore and aft. and the wind has been howling, and it's been performing so well. So I'm going back to sleep. Can you hear the difference in the sound of the rain hitting the tarp? I think it's actually turned to ice, and now it's sleet hitting the tarp. The wind is kicking around those pine trees. There's the water. Oh gosh. It's not water, it's... Hey, I was right. It had turned to ice. Oh my gosh. This has turned into quite the adventure. Well, that escalated quickly. I must have overslept. Alright, I gotta get to work. It's flipping freezing. Freeze to death filming. Put a link to the thermarest video I made on how to patch your thermarest. What's the date on there? I can't see it. I'll put a link below. This is quite a change from when we got here last night. I'm glad that shelter I whipped up is doing so well. Well, the situation got a little dicey. I think I got it under control now. The wind just kept shifting and shifting. You see the pine tree? How snow is stuck. And then it's stuck from the other side because it's been difficult to deal with. But I did. I'm going to fry me up a steak. That's what's happening now. So, things can't be too bad if there's steak. Wait, a pinch of salt. My blood pressure's getting a little low. Oh yeah.
Boy, that little alcohol stove does a fantastic job. See that? I've had that for many years. And that's going to save my bacon today. I don't want to build a fire. And it's not an efficient way to stay warm. I've got a hot water bottle in here. It's literally a glass Prego jar that I brought. And use the alcohol stove to heat up a frying pan full of water, put it in the sock, and there it is. So I keep it down in the basement, and it throws heat into the sleeping bag, just like I have an electric blanket on. So that is fantastic. It works anywhere, anytime, and it's working today for me. I'm so glad. Back to my steak. It went from 52 degrees the day I came here. It was raining. I didn't have time to prepare for a freezing winter camp, and plus I didn't have the equipment. That's alright. I've got my little triad stove, plenty of fuel. But I've had to rig the tent all different ways over the last day and night because it's gone down to as low as 4 degrees and snow and 30-mile-an-hour winds. I have been trapped in the sleeping bag, and every 2 hours roughly I get out, I fill the stove with alcohol, I melt some water. This was snow 2 hours ago, and then I get it to a boil and put it in a jar, tighten that up and put it in my sleeping bag. So that's my little dynamo keeping me from freezing. Also, this is what happened to my coat. I was sleeping, my head was here. I was exhaling the sleeping bag for long enough. Look at that, it froze, so I made it into this, shaped it into a shelter. But now my coat is frozen. Also, I did a video on this. Can you breathe into your sleeping bag without getting it soggy and then freezing to death? In this sleeping bag, the answer is yes, you can. I did it for 2 hours, and I've done it for what, almost 2 days, day and night, 2 days and nights out here at my camp. Anyway, so the deal is that really is dependent on the material. Now this it says waterproof, this jacket I've got, and it must have just had a waterproof outer layer that wouldn't breathe, so my freezing breath, look at that, that's cold, and that's also dangerous. Now I don't have a coat. There's the fire I laid out, thinking maybe it would get rained on. Even if I was well equipped, it would be difficult in this situation to build a fire because of the hard rain that turned right to sleet and then to snow. So everything here is not only saturated, but it's frozen with a coating of ice and then snow. So if I didn't have my stove, I'm in big trouble. What I do, I got my stove and my wits, and it'll be all right. Not as easy as it looks. Gotta make sure. Yeah, it's all dirty. I've been reusing the same water. The wind's been howling and it's dropping junk all over my frying pan full of melting snow. Trying to get comfortable, lean back this way, and I'm thinking, what am I leaning on? Oh, it's my frozen coat. That's how solid this thing is frozen. Alright, and here's dinner.
Which is coming early because I don't want to cook in the dark. It's too much of a pain for me. I don't see well in the dark. I got flashlights, but they're little. And you see my steak pose. This is the second one of the trip. I've been living on snacks, but now it's time to get something hearty in me. I'm melting the top of my, whatever it is. Got some pine cone residue on it, and I'm feeling comfortable enough. Oops. That was a second ago. Feeling comfortable enough to dig out the bag of wine. It's steak and wine time. I don't have a wine glass, so I'll drink it right out of the bag. Almost ready for my steak dinner. I put a little wine in there to deglaze the pan. And then to my third and final night, my makeshift tent. Oh, it's nice in the sleeping bag when the wind isn't blowing or it can't get to you. And the hot water bottle is in there, but otherwise it's not nice. It's going down to 6 degrees, coldest night of the whole shebang, I guess. And I'm a little nervous about it actually, because it really is difficult to wake up shivering because the bottle is no longer hot. That happens every 2 hours. I sort of run in place in the sleeping bag, get my wits together, and then heat up some more water, which means I've got to exit the sleeping bag at least partially, and that is super painful. And it takes a long time once the water is hot and back in my sleeping bag to warm up. So it's not the ideal, but it is making it through. I will. And I came out here for the challenge and I got one. I got more than I wanted. I had no idea it was going this cold or windy. And consequently I haven't been able to get out, put on my boots, put on my coat, and figure out a way to configure this tarp so that it's stopping more wind and keeping me warmer, but it's not happening. So I will get by, and I'll head home tomorrow and take a nice hot shower, and all will be well. It's like being a coal miner in a cave-in. It's very tight quarters, and everything you do, you got to do it with one hand. There's my water bottle. I got to keep it in here. Get all my extra clothes out or on, providing insulation. We're barely hanging on, but we are. We're gonna make it till tomorrow. Here goes. Look at all the frost. Quickly now, doggy. Come on, buddy. There.
terrible. I'm under pressure here. Frozen. Come on. It's frozen. Sorry, cow, you gotta die. You gotta die quicker on freezing. There we go. That's what's supposed to be. I'll have to kill another box of wine. I'll get started after my warm shower, which is happening. It's a go. Live and learn. The reason that I didn't wear these is they've got burrs on them. So it's gathering firewood. I got a bunch of burrs on me, and then it got dark and I couldn't pick them off. Didn't want them in my sleep bag all weekend. Frozen. Come on, there we go. Into the frozen boots. Fingers are going numb, so I'm having trouble. Okay. It's still rolling. Yeah.